Every app needs authentication, but building it from scratch every time is a huge waste of time. With BetterAuth, you can outsource your entire login system while still staying in control of your data. In this video, I'll walk you through exactly how I set it up from installation to GitHub login, step by step. Let's go. To install BetterAuth, so we need to just install it using one of these package manager. So I'm going to use Bond for now. I think you should also be using Bond. I probably will do a separate video to like explain why you should probably start using Bond too as well. Then we need to create an env file. This is where we're going to keep two things, which is the secret itself and the base URL. So I'll just create the file. Then in here, we're going to add BetterAuth secret. So here we could just you could use this your function to just create a secret for yourself to put there. It's just for testing, so it's fine. Then your base URL. So the base URL here, this is where your this is where your app is running. So I have a NextJS app running here on port 3000. So yeah, that's what I'll be using for this demo right now. Now the next thing is to create the BetterAuth instance, and this is the instance on the server side. So based on their documentation, they give you a couple of places you're going to create the file. So I'm going to create it on the lib, so libauth.ts. So I've put that under there. Then I'm going to copy this over. So in here, we're going to specify what database BetterAuth you use and how do you want to authenticate. So basically, how do you want to authenticate users, what database do you want to put them in, and a lot of other configuration which we could go over. But yeah, I just want to run through the main thing here. So for the sake of this demo, I'm just going to use SQLite. You could use Postgres, you could use MongoDB, you could use Prisma. They support a lot of my stuff, MySQL, different stuff. So for the sake of this, I'm just going to use SQLite. So for this, I'm just going to create a db.ts under lib as well. And this is my database, pretty much very small. BetterAuth SQLite. I need to install this. So add this, and we also need to add its type, if I'm correct. Yeah. So we're going to add its type as well. We'll put this here. So we have the SQLite set up already. We have our auth system. Now here we have database. We're going to now select the DB we created. Now in terms of how to log in, so the default way the people probably use is email and password. But for me, I'm not going to use email and password because I feel like it's so stale. But yeah. So I'm going to set it as false because I don't want anyone to log in with email and password. So I'll just use social providers, and I plan to use GitHub for the sake of this demonstration. So it has the client ID, which will pick from the env, and it has the client secret, which will also pull from the env. So for now, we just have this. Then we need to set this up in. I'll just configure this. Yeah, cool. So we set up the client ID and the client secret for GitHub. Then we need to just set this in the env. So for the client ID, we'll put this here. And for the client secrets, same thing. So you probably know how to create your client ID and secret, but if you don't, I'll just go over it very quick. So for GitHub, we just come to GitHub, click on this, click on your profile, then click on settings, then developer settings. Once you're here, in your OAuth apps, you create a new OAuth. So we'll create a new OAuth and we'll just call it notes demo. For the homepage URL, you set it to your homepage URL, which is your localhost 3000. For the callback as well, you set this localhost 3000 API auth callback GitHub. So I'll put all of this. Then you register the application. Now, once you register the application, you have the client ID. You can copy that over as well. Then here you click on generate secrets, and once it gives you a secret, you just add it to as well. Now, once you've done this, you're done on the GitHub side of things. Now that we have the DB and all of that, we need to just run this command, and it's going to create the tables needed. So I'll just run this here. If you don't have the CLI, it's going to install it. If you have it, it's just going to tell you, are you ready to generate? And you just say yes, then it generates. Now, once it's done with the generation, it gives you an SQL file here. Because I'm using SQLite, so I need to now copy this over and just run it on my DB, or you could write a code that does that itself. But for simplicity's sake, so I'll just run this directly on my database, like an SQL statement. Once you run this migration directly on your database, you have that all set up, then you can proceed to the next step. So the next step is to create the mount handler, because Auth has a couple of endpoint routes. Remember, we added one in the callback URL on GitHub. So we need to now set that up on our server side. Since we're using NextJS, we'll create this file following the documentation. We'll come here, we'll create a new file, and we'll put this. So we have in this route, so we'll just put this. Yeah, so under this route we add this. So this would just register all the better auth related routes that it needs from our API endpoint. It just registers this under our base URL localhost 3000/API, basically. So that's what this will do. Now that we are done with that, the next thing we now need to do is to create a client-side instance. And just a little explanation on that is that you see this auth.ts file is used on the server side, because that's where our configuration is, our client ID secrets. Obviously, we don't want this on the front-end side. So we need to create another version of better auth that is usable on the front end. So we're going to create a file. We'll just call it auth client.ts. So we have this auth client.ts, and in here, we're just going to specify this. So we have this. One caveat here is if you have your backend and your front end on different domains, you need to specify the base URL inside here so that the client understand where the server is, where better auth server is, so you could find it. But if you don't specify it, it will just assume that your server is also on this same domain that your client is, and in our case that's true, so we don't need to do all of that now. So we have this page that say welcome, this is the landing page, login with GitHub and all of that. So here we'll have an on click. So this is where all the magic really happens. You just use the auth client we created, which is the front end library for better auth. We'll just say .signin, .socials, then we're passing the provider, and for this sake we're using GitHub. If you had set up Google, Apple, whatever way you've set up, GitLab, whatever it is, you'll be able to use all of that here. So once we are done with this now, when we click on login with GitHub, we expect it to take us to GitHub. So now we are on GitHub now. Now it's trying to authorize, so you could use, basically we created this app called Notes Demo, then it's trying to authorize. And once we authorize, it's going to redirect back here. Now, it still looks like, it's still the same page. So I'm just going to add a couple of other things missing on that page. So on the dashboard page, so I created a page that just shows when you're authenticated. All of this will be in the GitHub repository, which I'm going to publicize, so you could just go through it. So basically, all I'm doing here is I added a redirect hook that just check if you're logged in. It decides, oh, are you logged in, are you not logged in, and decide where you need to go. I added that so I can make use of it. I'm using auth client use session, so I can use this to get the current session, and based on that I can decide, oh, do you need to go where you need to go, or you need to go back to the login page. So basically that's what I have on the dashboard itself. If you have the user, just show the user email, they are authenticated, and show a logout button. And when you click on logout, I just do auth clients.signout again, and you're just redirected to the landing page. Then on the main page where we start from, so I just use this use auth redirect hook here again to just say false. You don't need to be logged in to like see this page, but if you are logged in, you shouldn't see this page. It should take you in. Yeah, so pretty much I have that. If you run into this problem about invalid GitHub, maybe whatever, this is a NextJS error, so I'll just fix it. I don't know, someone else might run into it. So just go into your next.config.ts and add this guy as well. And once you do that, when you reload this page, hopefully we should be good. All right, so yeah, so we have a dashboard now. This is me. It said I'm authenticated, and yeah, it has my picture from GitHub and all of that. When I log out now, it takes me out and I'm back to the landing page. If I'm on the landing page, if I try to access the dashboard, it doesn't allow me. It takes me back to the login page, which is like but once I log in, once I'm in now, if I try to go back to the landing page, it just takes me in like, hey, you're already logged in, just go in. What are you doing outside? So yeah, that's pretty much it. That's pretty much Better Auth. They have a lot of useful resources. They have so in terms of authentication, if we can go through it, so here you could make use of signing in social auth with Apple, Cognito, Discord, different ways. Most of what you could think of, Spotify, if you have that, you could log in with that. Email and password is also there. Email, OTP, everything is there. You could make use of it. They have a lot of plugins which you can make use of. So with plugins, you could do something like magic link, email OTP, passkey, basically one tap, like different ways signing with Ethereum for the crypto boys and girls. So yeah, different ways to like log in. You can create API keys, you can create organization, MCP. Honestly, you need to go through this thing and see how packed it is. It is very useful, and I feel like you will find this very, very useful. And in just this step, I know it's not a few steps, it's quite just a bit of step, but obviously that's how it is when you're learning something for the first time. With this, you've got a secure production ready login system without reinventing the wheel. From here, you can add different things like the providers I showed, the integration. You can change the custom hook on user creation, on login. Yeah, so there's something else I want to show you. This is something I did where I have a system where when you sign up for the first time, I give you some kind of token. So I have a system where you use token to like do stuff on the system. But when you sign up the first time, I give you some free 20 token as a sign up bonus. So I'll show you the code now. This is what it does. So because you just signed up and I have this hook like on register, once it is the first time the user is registering, just give them this bonus. And you can literally do stuff like that. You can customize, like I said earlier, you could customize the table name, the column name, the field name. You can do pretty much most of these things from it. But yeah, let me know what you think about this. What are you considering using this? What are you currently using for authentication? I would say if you're starting a new project, it is worth trying it out. Just try it out. You can try it out the demo project before you do it on something big. I'm using it in a couple of different projects on production right now, and it's been working very fine. I know a couple of people using it. It's really, really taking off, and it's something I think you should use instead of you reinventing the wheel. I think with this, you'll probably focus more on your business logic and know, yeah, authentication, you have something around it that you can make use of. Let me know what you think down in the comments. I'm really, really interested in like getting to know you guys and having to talk about things like this with you guys. If you find this helpful, hit follow. I'll be dropping more dev gems like this, and I'm very interested in connecting with a lot of you guys. Thanks.